there's a kind of split between the audience. Half of them is, this problem is really good and I need to do some internal work on this. The other side is, this is all just complaining, grow up, get on with it, we're adults now. But what is the kind of the timeline of events in their childhood that could separate the two of those? Because it doesn't really seem like there's ever a middle part. It always seems you're on one side or the other.
Yeah, it's, the I keep going back to these researchers. There was a study that was done in the early 90s and is referred to as the most important study that's nobody's ever heard of. And it was done in the United States, but it has global ramifications. It's called the Adverse Childhood Experiences Study. They labeled these things called ACEs. And what it really is um, there are a bunch of like childhood home traumas. So things that happen in one's childhood home that typically occur in the household. And there are 10 of these things. And everything from physical child abuse to poverty to sexual child abuse to addiction in the household, emotional abuse. There are 10 of them. And this one that we spend a good bit of time focused on is the least known. It's the one that has the lowest awareness. And what that is it's called childhood domestic violence, which is when you grow up living with domestic violence. And I bring this up because for those who grow up living with domestic violence, they typically, more than half of them, experience five others. So they don't just happen in isolation. It's one household. It's like if you grow up in one of these households, it's like there's like a conduit or an antenna on the top of the house that like where like conduits like all these bad things. So it's not just the violence between the parents, it's other things that the individual is dealing with. And these items, these childhood home traumas, sometimes they're really hard to separate. Sometimes they can isolate one or two, but then they all kind of lump into just, it was a difficult home. When you begin to understand the different components, then you're actually able to move beyond them. So the question of like you ask as it relates to where is the dividing line? Where is the time? The dividing line really comes when you get curious about what it is that happened in that home, not to go back and relive it, but unless you get that curiosity, you're not going to be able to let it pass, meaning let it pass in a way through you so that it doesn't keep coming up at times when you don't expect it. A lot of those thoughts that come up, meaning when the mind is always talking negatively, like when it's always saying, what am I worried about? I'm worried that this is going to happen. I'm worried this is not going to happen. Most of those things never come to be. But those worries come up because these issues are there and they're not acknowledged. And that's a good bit of the work that we do through our nonprofit.